Welcome to the Woman's Hustle, Thrills and Spills of Entrepreneurship, where we keep it real about what it takes to build, grow, and thrive. Here, you'll hear the unfiltered journeys of women entrepreneurs from everywhere, the wins, the setbacks, the lessons, and the behind the scene truths of aligning, starting, and scaling our businesses with purpose. Because let's be real, this road ain't always pretty. From battling self doubt to juggling responsibilities and facing the pressures to have it all figured out, this hustle can be pretty heavy. That's why this space exists to fuel you with the motivation, drop strategic gems on the topics that matter most, and remind you you are not in this alone. This is the Woman's Hustle. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Woman's Hustle, Thrills and Spills of Entrepreneurship. It's your girl, Keisha, checking back in with another dope session. Before I get started, please make sure, if you haven't already, that you are subscribed to the Upgraded Mindsets YouTube channel. Or if you're tuning in to the Woman's Hustle on your favorite podcast platform, then make sure you are favoriting, rating, and reviewing these episodes. I am so blessed and just so grateful for you all that have chimed in, all your feedback, all of the previous guests that have been here on the show. And I'm also grateful for our guests that we have here today. So if you are watching on YouTube, then you see I'm not by myself. So I'm going to allow my guest the honor of introducing herself. Hello, hello.
Hello, how are you? Hello,
I am
everyone
well.
listening and watching.
Please let the listeners know who you are and a little bit about what you do.
Absolutely. My name is Raven Petty. I am a book coach and co owner of Raven and Grace Press, which is a hybrid book publishing company.
I love it. I am all about bringing on different guests to talk about a variety of different things. And I'm super excited to have you here today, Raven. Thank you so much for joining us on the Woman's Hustle.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So, of course, you guys know I do a little research on my guest a little bit, and Raven's got a pretty extensive background when it comes to publishing, strategies, content, all of that good stuff. So, I'd love for you to kind of share a little bit more about your backstory and what got you where you are today.
Absolutely. So when I was 15 or so, I started working at a grocery store and worked my way up from like bagger to manager by the time I was 17. And so I started thinking about what I wanted to do for college and decided I wanted to become a proofreader. And so eventually I went to college, majored in English to be a proofreader, graduated, wanted to go into book publishing, and couldn't get hired. No one would hire me as an editor or even a proofreader for a book, for books. It's a very competitive industry. Once you get a job as an editor, you don't leave it because it's so competitive. So I had to pivot and I became a proofreader for a magazine publishing company. And that led me to a content marketing position for another company. And through that, I gained experience freelancing, proofreading, and editing. And doing projects like that. But I also got a lot of marketing experience in social media and content writing and everything. And then my current business partner reached out to me about 18 months ago and said, "Hey, can you edit books? What do you think about starting a book publishing company?" And here we are.
God, that is awesome. I love that, one, you stepped into your purpose, but two, you have a partner that's aligned with that and was like, hey, we're going to do this together. And I think that's so important. And we're going to talk a little bit more collaboration versus competition later too, because I'd love to get your feedback on that as someone with a business partner. So I think that that's super
Sure.
great.
Happy to.
And I know that you're a book publisher, you have the company. What do you think is some of the mistakes that new authors make when they're trying to like bring a book to market? Like, because I do have a book and I did self-publish per se, but I realized that I did not want to do all of those things by myself. So I'd love for you to share a little bit more insight on that.
Absolutely. So, marketing the book is by far the hardest part. And regardless of which route you go, so if you go traditional publishing, which is, who like Stephen King publishes with,
Right.
and big authors like that, you're still going to be doing about 80% of the marketing. They only get you into the bookstores. Self publishing, obviously, you don't have the same connections as a traditional publisher. So you're doing all of the distribution, all of the marketing, it falls all on your shoulders. With hybrid like us, we partner with a really large distributor. So we can get your books into all the bookstores and on Amazon and all the platforms, and then you're still doing, about 80% of your marketing. So I think one of the biggest mistakes is new authors don't realize how much work it takes to actually sell books. There are a lot of books out there. And so it's really about having an author page, building an audience, talking to everybody talking about your book all the time.
Oh my God.
You can, as a self-published author, get into Barnes& and Noble and Books A Million to do book signings, but you have to ask. And I think a lot of new authors are just afraid to just contact the manager and say, "Hey, I've written a book. Can I do a book signing?" And do that in every bookstore in your community and invite everybody there. And so, yeah, it's really important though, I think, for people to have a partner when it comes to the marketing and distribution because it is
I
a
agree.
lot of.
And I would say that kind of across the board. You work with women entrepreneurs, I work with women entrepreneurs. One of the biggest things that I see across the board is the fact that they don't realize how much work marketing and promoting yourself actually is. It's way beyond making a social media post, right? And
Absolutely.
people don't understand that. I did all of the things with the publishing, published on Amazon, and I had a great publisher. Shout out to Thanks to Meals Publishing. But that was 3 years ago as well. And I know that there's some shifts that have been done. And it's like, do I even want to put myself into creating another book? I do. My tell all is coming, you guys, but we'll talk about that another day.
I can't wait to
I
read
think
it.
I know, right? I can't. Oh my God. It's so many things. But I think that I love your point in people just don't understand what it really does take. There's an ecosystem involved in just publishing a book. Just like there's an ecosystem with your business, there's an ecosystem when it comes to publishing your book. And I think that a lot of times people just don't acknowledge that because they're saying, I got a book. And then let's talk about, we want our family and friends to like get our books and things like that. But are you publishing that just for them? Or are you trying to reach a bigger audience? I know I was trying to reach a bigger audience and loved everybody that supported me with buying my book, but I knew that I was trying to reach a bigger audience. So I knew what that was going to take. And that was some work. That was some
Absolutely.
work.
Absolutely. And, a lot of people, so with a traditional publisher, it can take 18 to 36 months just to get the book on shelves. With a hybrid publisher like us, it can take 4 to 6 months, depending on the writer's timeline. But then after that, you are absolutely promoting and selling your book for the next 12 to 18 to 24 months, depending on how long you want that push to be. We had a friend who launched in July of last year, and here we are in February, and she is still every single weekend at an event or a book signing trying to
I
sell
love it.
books. She also went with a publisher who she owes a royalty to. So she has to sell a certain number of books in order to pay the publisher back before she can make any money. And so there's
Oh,
all those nuances too, where if you sign a book deal and you have to sell 10,000 copies before you see a penny of it, that's
mm,
something to consider too, which is very popular in traditional publishing.
yeah, I can see that totally. Going back to digital content, because you have over 20 years experience in that as well. I'd love for you to talk about like some of the trends that you're seeing when it comes to like digital content and publishing, that us as women entrepreneurs should be paying attention to here, especially here recently.
Absolutely. So it's all about authenticity, right? Like we don't need more tips. We have tips. We know what we're supposed to do. We know the motivational quotes, it's all about the problems we solve and why we're the right person for the job. And we have to realize that we're not for everyone.
Oh,
I tell that as a coach, I tell my authors that all the time. It's like your book is not for everyone, but it is
man.
for someone. And you're going to reach those someones if you continue to put yourself out there. People want to see you being authentic. People want to see the you that they're going to get in a coaching session or a networking meeting. Like we tend to turn on and turn off and be different
Yes.
people at home than we are out in public. We really just need to just embrace our whole self and just let the world see that the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Man, listen, that was probably one of the biggest, like, light bulbs that came on into my head because I feel like I've always had a level of authenticity. But as I was coming up as a coach, there were the moments of imposter syndrome where it's like, oh, well, maybe I should do things this way because I've seen them doing it and it's working for them. When you're building and learning, you do have those moments and it's okay. But don't stay there because I realized once I just started to be like, I just got to be me all the way around. I got to be transparent. I got to be vulnerable and not strong. Because when I hear the word strong, and this is something that I teach my clients as well, strong means you don't need help in society's eyes. If I'm a strong woman, then oh, she's okay. She doesn't need any help. She's strong. She has it. No, I don't identify with that. So understanding that a part of me being authentic is me showing my vulnerabilities, my transparency, and kind of talking about those things. So I really love that you touched base on that because I agree. Even in the days of AI right now and everything, I still love good, authentic content from real people. Right.
Yes.
And that's something that I think I'll never get tired of. I know that we're advancing and evolving, but I still want authentic conversations from authentic, real people. So I think I'm never going to get that. And I'm probably with you, as a publisher, you probably feel the same way. Like, I need to have some authenticity from your book. What are you, kind of talking about? Do you have people that come to you like with strictly AI content? How do you feel about that?
That's such an interesting conversation, and we could do a whole podcast on that. That is the use of AI to write your book and your content in general. That has been such an interesting evolution the last
I
year or
bet.
so because even I use AI as a tool for me. So if I have a 200-page book, I will upload it and say, "Hey, give me 10 of the best quotes from this book." And it'll crank them out. It's like an assistant for me.
There it is.
What
Yep.
people don't realize when they use AI to write your book is that AI does the exact same thing for everyone. So there are some very telltale signs that I know, and I'm not going to give those secrets away in this meeting, but
That part.
that I know I can immediately look at something and say ChatGPT wrote that or
Yep.
Gemini wrote that because it does the exact same thing. And it's not something that most people would realize is different. But
Yep.
as a professional reader, so to speak, I know what your voice would sound like and what ChatGPT does to quote unquote edit the copy or make it better. And so we do have to have those conversations when authors submit manuscripts like that. And if authors are open to letting me finesse that and change that on their behalf, and of course the author sees the entire revised, copy, then we'll proceed. And if of course the author's like, no, I like it the way it is, then we may just be like, okay, then maybe we're not a good fit. And then, they may need to find another publisher or go another,
You guys stand on business with that, right? Because as entrepreneurs, we're quick to want to just say we can help anybody and work with anybody. I love that you guys are like, yeah, well, we're just not the fit for you because at the end of the day, this is your work that's being put out there, right? Even though it's the author, but your name is listed as the publisher. So, yeah, they're going to look at that and be like, how valid are they when they publish in AI books? So, I love that you guys stand on business with that. I think that
And
that is
and
dope.
some publishers have a strict no AI policy. If they know, they won't even consider editing the manuscript. For me, I don't want your book to sound like AI for
Yeah.
you as the author. I want it to sound like you. So I'll put in the extra work to edit it to make sure it sounds like you instead of the machine. But a lot of the bigger publishers, they have a no AI policy. So if they think that AI had anything to do with it, they won't even bother. And they're big publishers, so they have thousands of people pitching to them every week to publish their book. So, it's just something to consider, with which route you go. You can self-publish and use AI, and there are currently no rules against that. There are some copyright things about images and things, but of course,
Right.
doing some research will help with all that.
Absolutely. And I think that it's important for us to realize that AI is a tool. And if it's something that you're letting just completely take over your business, I really want you to consider if that's a business that you want to have because we know AI is not going anywhere. I am purpose driven as a coach, as a podcaster, as a speaker. So I can't get on the stage and let AI talk for me. Right. I can't, even though I see people do AI based podcasts, I won't be doing that. So I really love that you like reiterated the fact that AI is supposed to be used as a tool, not to take over your whole life and your business.
Or even your relationships with others, right? Like I've had people say, "Oh, well, I talked," and they've named their AI, right? They've given it a
They do.
name. And they have whole conversations, and we're removing the humanity. We're removing the people to people when we do that. And so while, treat it like you would Google or treat it like you would a social media platform. It's something that you should be on maybe a few minutes a day, but it's nothing to try to build a relationship with.
It's facts. It's facts. I want to touch base a little on you from your day to day. How do you navigate like having it all together while building a brand? Because I'm going to be
Do I
honest, for
always
me,
have it all together?
and I was just gonna say, I don't, right? I don't. And like I love to have these type of conversations because sometimes as women, we feel like that we are supposed to have everything together. Everything's supposed to be under control. We've got everything handled. But I like to talk about the spills. So like share your journey as far as, trying to navigate that.
Absolutely. So, as I said earlier, I was a manager by 17. So I was obviously a born leader, right? Like we don't
Yeah.
realize that at such a
Period.
young age. Promoted to management at 17, obviously I'm a manager and a leader. So I really just lean into that most days. So I'm very organized. I plan, every at the end of every day, I plan the first couple of things I'm going to do for the next day, not the whole day, but
Right.
what's most important. And then I just do the best I can. And then there are some days like yesterday because I had worked all weekend at a celebrity event and I had been working with a really big actor all weekend and hundreds of thousands of people, I was very tired. So it's Monday, long to-do list. I spent the first half of the day watching figure skating and then the second half of the day, doing what had to be done. And I think giving yourself the grace to take days off or take half days, go play. One of my favorite things to do is to just not tell anybody I'm taking a day off and go paint for a couple of hours or just something to take a break and to break up the monotony of the workday and the grind.
I love that.
And while I love what I do, it is it's all work, it's all things to do and to-do list and a lot of emails and I actually oversee all of the background of publishing. So the editing, the book covers, all the graphics, the copy. So it can be a lot, especially if we're about to launch a book. So I just try to take breaks when I can. And some days it's like, what's going to be good enough today? And if that's what I set my baseline at. Good enough, maybe just getting through my emails and taking a nap and then
I
starting
love
fresh
it.
the next day, right? So it's really just having awareness about what you can do and about what your body needs and just letting that be your guide.
Ooh, I love it, Raven. I love it because at the end of the day, I'm very unapologetic about taking time off. Very. Like I will shut down, especially if like my mental is just not where it needs to be to perform the duties that may need to be performed. I have rescheduled podcast recordings before just because I just wasn't in the space to be able to do that. And some people will be like, oh my God, you could lose that guest. No, because I explained why. I'm very transparent and vulnerable when it comes to that. So if someone feels a kind of way because I'm protecting my mental and really taking care of myself for this day, then maybe they aren't supposed to be a guest. That's just kind of how I look at things at this point. But I love that you are like, hey, I'm gonna do it and I might not tell anybody that what I got going on. It's okay to do that. Yes, we want to show up. We want to make sure that we are, being productive in our responsibilities. But ladies, it is okay, just as okay, if not more okay, to be like, you know what, I'm going to sit back and just relax for a second. You said, well, I'm watching some figure skating. Like, yes, I absolutely love it. That is what it's about. Use some of the time to make sure you are taking care of you. Your business is you, it's a part of you, but you internally need to be first, period.
Absolutely.
So I
Absolutely.
love it.
And this event this past weekend was one of those examples. I volunteered at a celebrity Comic-Con here in
Mhm.
Nashville, and I
Mm,
did I did line control. And that's just it's a volunteer opportunity, but that's one of the things that I do for me because it's fun and it's different and it gets me out of the house. And I came home exhausted. I mean, I worked
yeah.
like 18 hours, in one day. But I also came back feeling so validated as a leader because I managed thousands of people who wanted to see this actor and they were so happy. And it's just like there are those days I have those imposter syndrome days where I'm just like, what am I doing? And then I work an event like that. It's like, no, I'm actually very good at this. And so it's doing things that are different that get you out of your comfort zone and just, really embracing everything that life gives us rather than just focusing on our business or just focusing on our what we think our purpose is. I think we have lots of purpose and there are multitudes of ways to show that. And so just being really mindful about that I think is important too.
I love it. Speak it. Speak it, Raven. I love it. I know I said earlier I wanted to talk to you as someone that has a business partner that you guys are kind of, yin and yang with that. I love to talk to you a little bit more about like collaboration versus competition. I see so many women that secretly are competing, and because I'm very mindful of me, I kind of see what's going on, whereas some women do not. What are some of the things that you feel like as women building businesses, we know that we need to network, kind of get ourselves out there more and really be intentional in doing so? What are the kind of things that we can do to better support ourselves on that journey, but also finding our tribe of like minded to do that too?
I'm so glad you talked about this. I just wrote a chapter on how I finally found my tribe after like
I love
40
it.
years of being alive, right?
That's
As a woman, and I have dedicated years trying to find my tribe. And I finally found it when I signed up for karate, of all things.
really
About it was I don't know when it's been a little bit over a year. I decided I was gonna take a karate class because I wanted some exercise, wanted to try something different, and I call us the Hot Girls Club because we come from all walks of life, and we are
right.
fierce, like, we know how to, punch somebody in the throat if we need to, so
Period.
but it I realized that I didn't fit into what traditional society would tell me that a woman should look like or what a woman should be into. I'm different. Like, I like heavy metal music and I like sports cars. And, most women that I've met aren't into those things.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is when I found karate, I did find women who were all different. We don't have a ton of in common, but we're all mothers. Many of us are business owners. We're all there to become more mindful and take care of our bodies. And so we really found some common interest in being authentic. So finding your tribe, I mean, again, that could be a whole podcast too. I mean, that's just for me, it was
Facts.
trial and error. I
Yeah.
just went to different networking things. I went to different retreats. I talked with as many women as I possibly could. And I finally found my tribe in my karate class and it's been amazing. But yeah, pursue your interest. I did hikes, I did nighttime events, daytime events. You have to go and be uncomfortable and awkward as much as possible, and then you will eventually find, the women who you're meant for and who will support
True.
you instead of compete. I
I love
love
it.
that you reference my business partner and I as a yin and yang. We actually use that as part of our branding.
I
So
love it. I didn't even know that.
well, our name is Raven and Grace, right? And our
Yeah.
logo is a raven and a dove because of the dark and the light. And when we go to events, I usually dress like an all black or dark because that's my wardrobe anyway. She's in very light, flowy colors with lots of, and so we actually play on the yin and yang, the light and dark, and I'm a little bit quieter. She used to be an actress, so she's very,
Okay.
out there, and we attract different people, and because we are that yin and yang, we work well together, and we play off each other's strengths, and we know our weaknesses, we lean on each other, and it's a true partnership.
Love that. I think that that is so I want people to understand one thing. People that you may have been around for years, but you are lacking a sense of life satisfaction. If you're starting businesses or trying to scale your business and you're stuck because you don't have those people around you, these are the conversations you need to have with yourself. I love going to network events with intention, meaning that I want to get something out of the event that I'm actually going to. So if it's somewhere specific that's talking about like empower women empowerment or podcasting or something like that, I want to be able to be intentional in my networking events. So I love that you guys are, and you guys do that and have that different personality as well. So I think that that's awesome. Before we get ready to wrap up here, one message that you'd want every woman today listening to our episode to walk away with when it comes to figuring out if they want to have a business, taking the tools to elevate that business, or publishing a book? Like, I know that's your jam. So just a message that you'd want every woman to take away from this episode today.
Wow. I would say first I'll do the book thing. So if anyone has ever told you you should write a book, then that's the universe telling you you should write a book. However that needs to happen, whether that's 200 words while you're sitting in the car to pick up your kids, or, starting to just, type it out into a text note app, whatever you need to do. If people say you should write a book, that's your cue. And so just for that, to get started, it's relatively easy. You just have to start writing, and then you have to make the time to write more. So if you start out on your notes app, maybe you spend 45 minutes on a Sunday afternoon and you actually type out more intentionally. I like to, if you're a woman business owner, I like to talk about what problems are you solving for your clients. Go into extensive knowledge about that, because your book now makes you an expert, and it can lead to podcast and speaking opportunities, and we've had authors go on morning shows, and all of that just helps build your business.
Absolutely.
Getting into entrepreneurship is very scary, I think, for a lot of us. I worked my corporate job for 6 months while having the publishing company and coaching before I left. I was still working 40 hours a week for my corporate job, plus publishing books and coaching authors, and I had almost lost my mind. So, as scary as it was, and I had been at that corporate job for 11 years, but as
Yeah.
scary as it was, I had to leave the corporate world and step fully into business ownership. And I think that's something that I see a lot as a coach is, they're afraid to do. You're afraid to lose the benefits, you're afraid to lose the security, but you have to, because only then can the room open and the doors open for your business to grow. So you have to let something go. And I would just tell your listeners and ask them, like, what do you need to let go of in order to take the next step toward your business or your dream or your goal?
Period. I love it. Powerful words to finish us out, you guys. Raven, let them know where they can find you at. Website, socials, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. So I'm on LinkedIn, Raven Petty. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one. On my website is ravenpetty.com. Our publishing company is ravenandgrace.com. You can actually just Google me too. You'll find me there. On Instagram. So you can find me on all of those. And I look forward to connecting with everyone.
Absolutely. Raven, thank you so much for blessing the woman's hustle, coming in with your raw and uncut conversation, but most importantly, helping us ladies on our journeys, because we definitely love to have these conversations, because this is what we need to continue to scale our businesses, our brands, and most importantly, our legacy. So thank you so much for joining me. You guys, make sure you have subscribed to the channel. Give us some feedback on this episode. What did you guys think? Share this with somebody who may be interested in publishing a book. Or if you're interested in publishing a book, definitely reach out to Raven. I know that she'd love to connect with you. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Till next time.